So you think you would have sex with a lot of the population?
Yes.
But you know what's boring is just to talk about the chicks. How about the guys that you would, if you were gay?
And I guess I'm old school, but I don't see men like sexually unless they're famous. I see brothers
So
sometimes.
much.
Like if I see a black dude, dark black dude.
Oh, I thought you meant two siblings.
No. A dark black dude with yellow gold on.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah,
Cool
that guy's
look.
got swag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so for my regulars, this will come as no surprise given the forensic coverage of their downfall on this channel, but at this point, Two Bears, One Cave is a complete joke, just without the funny part. And the thing is, there's always been a few glimpses here and there into the old Tom and Bert who used to be easygoing, laid-back comedians who would shoot the breeze on their podcast and just have an all-round good time. But things have definitely changed. Now the podcast is one massive grift, and the latest episode perfectly captures just how far off course these two Muppets have gone.
I'm meeting Shaq next week.
Really? Where at?
I'm doing his podcast.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I'm such a fan of Shaq's. I would not
Yeah.
have sex with Shaq.
No, you shouldn't.
No.
Don't tell him that either.
I'm not even going to bring it up.
You've got to love those banked episodes. And so the transition from comedy podcast to cringe compilation is fully complete. The worst part is, I don't think they care, and I'll explain why towards the end. I'm also going to show you how, yet again, Tom and Bert are scamming their audience with their new vodka, por osos. I wonder if Joe Rogan knew way back when he told all his buddies to start a podcast that it would end up this way. Let me show you what I mean. The title of their latest episode is Shannon Sharp Won't Like This Bracket, and the whole theme of the podcast, wait for it, is famous men that they would sleep with. Yep, Two Bears 2024. Bert did one podcast with Shaq, and now he's calling black guys brothers.
You can't even bring up like gay shit with brothers. Like they just don't. They don't play that way.
No.
Like we play that way.
Yeah.
I love it. I love gay shit.
Speaking of basketball, we have a bracket for you.
Oh, please tell me we're gonna name NBA people we would.
I think it's just
I don't even know enough people in the NBA that I'd real quick. Top 5 NBA guys I would have sex with. Anthony Davis.
really.
I just saw him play the other night. LeBron, obviously.
Yeah.
Steph Curry. I'd be the top.
Well, those are like also great stories. You know what I mean? Like when you're hanging out, you're like, you know who I just fucked?
Steph Curry.
People are like, get out of here, really?
No
And
way.
then you're like, yeah, the next day I had sex with LeBron. It was fucking a wild 48 hours. Yeah.
The Greek dude, Giannis.
Yeah.
I'd have sex with him.
Bro, what are you saying? How did it seriously come to this? And the thing is, this isn't some off-the-cuff discussion they went down. We know that they plan out these episodes and have production meetings before they bank 3 months worth of episodes into 2 weeks of recording. So that's where the title of this episode came from, remember? They created these brackets so they could narrow down the guys they want to sleep with to find a final winner.
Oh, we have a bracket?
Yeah, it's a bracket.
Shut the fuck up.
March Madness, baby.
Oh, wow. Okay. Fuck yeah, so we're going to find the most fuckable celebrity right now.
So let's just get this straight. 2 of the highest selling comedians on the planet had a production meeting, and the best idea for a podcast they could come up with was to do March Madness brackets of famous dudes they want to get railed by. Now, if you're not already cringing from Bert's insane groupie energy, take this as a warning. It's about to get bad. Just to give you an idea of the level of detail involved in deciding who wins each stage, this is what happened when they got to the Kelsey brothers, and it wasn't deciding between the 2 of them, they were both on the same side. Don't come at me in the comments, guys, because I've already warned you.
Both Kelsey brothers
Oh, wow. Hold on.
or Ben Affleck? That's a really, really tough one. You're basically airtight with the Kelsey bros, right? Like
Yeah.
you're just a fucking like spigot, right? They're just
Leaky submarine, just
Yeah.
in the mouth, in the ass.
yeah.
And
there's by the way, there's a lot of power behind these thrusts.
oh, wow. I'm gonna be taking a fucking rest day. It's my Monday.
Yeah. You're gonna need that cold plunge.
I've always wanted to have a brother, so
Yeah.
I think both the Kelsey brothers, you'd be a part of the family and you get all the inside
For
jokes.
sure. Yeah.
And all of a sudden you'd be welcomed in to them.
Yeah.
And you could hang out with, they got to get rid of their wives.
Yeah. Leave their
Taylor
families.
and Kelsey are gone.
It's really tough to be enough for two people. You're always going to be dealing with like Jason's gonna be like, oh, I guess you spent the night with Travis last night. You know what I mean? And then you're like, dude, I love you.
I might be enough for a throuple.
You think so?
I might be the perfect guy for a throuple because I'm a lot.
You are a lot.
I might have total throuple energy.
But
then the question is Ben Affleck. Oh, man. Brooding.
Yeah.
Cigarette, Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah.
Always, he's got the same scrolling thing I have where he's like, God, man, I want to get down tonight.
Yeah.
And then I could get a loose.
But he's sober.
No, I'm not with me.
Okay.
Not with me.
And he's just left J-Lo again.
He's just left J-Lo. He's lost. He's confused. Yeah. He's got a house in the hills.
Yeah.
We bump into each other at Runyon Canyon. And he's like, hey, I saw the thing that you and the other guy did with the brackets. Is that real? And I go, huh? And he goes, would you for real? And I go, yeah, I said it. And he go, hey, come hang out with me tonight. I'm off the wagon. I'm partying, but I got my shit under control. And I'm like, okay. He's like, hey, don't bring your chick. Just me and you.
You're like, yeah, of course.
And then the other pitch is me and you are at an event and the Kelsey brothers walk up shoulder to shoulder with me. And they're like, hey, we saw the thing you did with Tom. Is that real? Can we take turns on you?
Oh, what's that saying? There's truth to every joke. And we know that Bert's a terrible actor after seeing the Machine movie flop in more ways than one, but this wasn't just a 5 or 10 minute conversation. It was the whole theme of this episode. It went for over an hour. This is what they call content.
Now it's the finals. It's the finals, dude. Who are you going to choose?
I can't believe that in my final running, I don't have great names. Like Winston Churchill, Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
I don't have great names. Josh Hartnett.
Yeah.
Leo. Shannon Sharp. They're all out of the finals.
They're all out.
I'm so shocked that they didn't make it to the finals.
This is like
that my final choice is either Johnny Depp or Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
Johnny Depp or Hugh Jackman. I want you as a listener right now, very quickly, who would you get into a relationship with? Sexual relationship.
And it's young Johnny Depp.
And it's young Johnny Depp.
All right, just quickly, how much does Tom Segura look like Tom Cruise in Tropic Thunder? Anyway, this is the level of content we've come to expect from two of Joe Rogan's never-been-funny comedians in 2024, and I just want to make a couple of comments before I move on to the scam that they were recently exposed for by Mike from Red Bar Radio. There's a bunch of people, including myself, who give Rogan a hard time for his lack of preparation for guests and just his general laziness when it comes to the production of his podcast. Just last week on Protect Our Parks, we saw him and Jamie fumbling their way through YouTube's copyright rules. They had no idea which clips they could play. Rogan kept turning to Jamie, asking him if he could pull something up. And Jamie just kept saying no and eventually blurted out, I don't know, I'm not a lawyer. I've been listening to the latest episode of JRE with Dave Attell as well, and Jamie was just basically ignoring Rogan whenever he asked Jamie to pull up a video. I just can't get past this. I don't understand how Rogan has a $250 million contract with Spotify and they can't buy the rights to play the song Team America. Like, it's just wild. It's the biggest podcast on the planet. But the reason I'm telling you all of this is because Two Bears, One Cave is the complete opposite.
Because, like, I go to Tom's. Have you been to Tom's?
Tom.
Cigars?
Oh, yeah.
It's like they have a real production staff.
Yeah.
There's all these people running around with clipboards, and it's like...
I went to Bert's house the other day. He had 8 people behind computers just typing away. I don't know what the they're doing. Emailing what?
Social media going crazy, promoting arena shows. Everyone's going nuts.
Me, no.
I don't want that in my life.
So there's obviously pros and cons to both of these, right? On the one hand, you've got the JRE style of podcast where Rogan rarely prepares and just lets the conversation with his guest go in its own direction over 2 to 3 hours. On the other hand, you've got the highly produced style of YMH Studios, where everything is prepared into segments and they both have notes on what to talk about next and how long to talk about it for, followed by 50 ad reads. But the problem is, Tom and Bert aren't using that production power to create good, well-informed and researched content. Hell, it's not even really that fun anymore. They're just using it to produce straight-up cringe bait, and that's the frustrating thing, right? They obviously know this, and they're doing it on purpose. Think about it. With all the producers and managers, PR staff and agents, etc. that Tom and Bert have employed, none of the things that happen on their podcasts are by mistake. Most of it's planned, and some of it's probably even scripted for them. So they know that to stay in the conversation, they have to lean into the cringe. That's how you get Bert's top 5 NBA players that he'd sleep with. And banking episodes doesn't help either. I think you need to have time away from the studio to come up with good content and stories. I mean, you got to have a life, right? Otherwise, you're boxing yourself in forcing content that comes off as unnatural and manufactured. So the bottom line is these guys are simply doing too much, and it's all part of this ongoing grift. Now, speaking of grifting, have you heard about their new vodka? Well, you can't exactly buy it yet because it hasn't officially been released, but they have released the merch already, and things aren't going so well. Mike from Red Bar Radio bought a Porosos t-shirt and made an interesting discovery.
I'm looking at these pictures, and I'm going, man, this really doesn't look like the t-shirt that I received. And then I very quickly realized it's because it's not the t-shirt I received. I'll break the news to you quick. In all of the Porosos advertising and listings for the item on their store, they're using expensive, thick AS color t-shirt. Here's Tom looking like a stud in the shirt, no wrinkles, and you see the nice, thick collar. You see that it looks nice and sturdy and thick, and you could scroll through these pictures. Every photo of Tom is in the nice version of this piece of shit shirt that we actually get. Here's the proof. There's that AS color tag right there that they've blurred out, but I
at least edit
could
that
recognize it. And here's the nice thick collar. You could compare it to this collar here, which is extremely thin and junky, and they're selling an item that they are not shipping. And they said the merch, remember when they promoted it, next level merch. This merch is next level.
We're going to have our vodka there for you to taste. We're going to have great merch. I'm talking next level merch. Look over my left shoulder. It's great merch.
It is great merch. It's an even, I'm saying this, I know I should be, but I'm going to just tell you, it is an amazing product.
I'm talking next level merch. Look over my left shoulder.
So let's be honest here, this isn't a big deal. I mean, it's nowhere near as bad as Logan Paul's CryptoZoo scam or Andrew Schultz charging his fans for his comedy special and then dropping it for free on YouTube a few weeks later. This is just a bit of the old merch scamming where you advertise a certain level of quality and you don't deliver. And that tells you everything you need to know about how Tom and Bert view their audience. And, well, I'm here for the comments. Take a look at what people are saying on the latest episode of Two Bears. 4 minutes in, I think I'm going to save this episode for when I'm really bored or falling asleep. Who's told Bert he could say brothers like that? 2 Bears, 25 ads. Is this what Cat Williams was talking about? I really think I need to reevaluate the direction of my life. What have I done in my past that has led me to this place where I listen to this in its entirety? Coming to the conclusion that the only thing I liked about this podcast was Nadav's laugh. I'd rather go to the 4th floor of hell that's after the Chili's floor than keep getting advertisements. Yeah, these guys are falling off pretty hard. Like I said, acting the fool can only last so long. But that's it from me for now. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're not a regular viewer of this channel, hit the subscribe button and give me a thumbs up, and be sure to drop a comment below to let me know what you think about this video. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.
You're telling me I get to have sex and wake up every morning with Winston Churchill?
Yeah.
And now I got to suck his dick too.
You do have to sometimes.
So
yeah.
I've got to look over that belly and I'd be like, oh.
You think that there's money to be made off of outrage? Do you think if you outrage a certain community that they will consume your content way more?
Yeah.
Wait, is that what these people are up
Seems
to?
to be how it goes.
Get the f out of here.
Seems to be.
Yeah, we got to do that.
So wait, is the Daily Wire an American media platform or is it an Israeli media platform? I'm just asking.
This guy's cooking.
Restricting free speech, one of the core tenets of the American identity. Ben.
Oof. Benjamin.
What is happening? There's trouble in paradise.
See, he was ready. I didn't know this. This motherfucker was ready. I didn't know. I was out. I was going to do other things.
It's no secret that Andrew Schultz thinks Ben Shapiro is a massive tool. He's been roasting him for years across different podcasts, and he's never been afraid to go hard in the paint and say what he really thinks. And don't forget, Schultz comes from a Jewish background himself, even though it was just on his father's side. So to see the latest Schultz epiphany of him ripping into Ben Shapiro, Well, it was actually kind of refreshing. Just wait until I show you his epic takedown on the latest episode of Flagrant. But in case you missed it, here are a couple of Schultz's most savage roasts of Ben Shapiro in recent history.
No, the autism, it actually helps you focus on certain things.
Like what?
I don't know. I mean, that's what they say about people on the spectrum.
Yeah, let's
One of the
ask
things
Ben
they say
Shapiro.
You think he's on it?
Oh, autistic Adam Smith. That's what I call him. Dude, let's go. Oh, the free market is like, ask him about anything. You like donuts? Well, no, the best donuts would be in the free market. Bro, turn it off for a second, dude. Just fucking turn it off. We get it. You like capitalism, dude. Turn it the fuck down.
Good for you, Ben. You figured it out. Thug life or whatever. Facts, not feelings.
Yeah.
But on the latest episode of Flagrant, Andy and the Toy Story boys did a full takedown of Ben Shapiro and exposed the massive grift he's been pulling off for years. And I'm not going to lie, this was actually unexpected from Schultz. Flagrant started out well when it was Flagrant 2, but lately it's become like The View for 21-year-old incels. So to see Schultz and his boy band actually offer a good, well thought out take on how Ben Shapiro's basically a fake conservative and monetizing fake outrage for a profit, well, it came as a welcome change from the usual leg-slapping, shoulder-rubbing, nipple-squeezing cringe that Flagrant's become known for. And you'll see what I mean when I break this down, because they spent the first 40 minutes of this episode just taking down Ben Shapiro and exposing the fraud that he is. So armed with his Bachelor of Arts in Psychology, Schultz began by trolling Shapiro's media company, Daily Wire, for their business model of profiting from outrage and feeding fear into their audience.
How do we outrage him? I don't know. Well, who should we outrage?
Everyone.
Black people?
No.
Yeah. But that's a really good thing to do. I've seen a lot of people make careers off of that.
They don't have the money.
Outraging a certain group of people, right?
Sorry. I wish I learned off of that. Yes, that was crazy.
Thank you.
That was crazy.
Without the laugh, it really just sounded like hate. It really was just dying.
No, but you're right. They broke. So we got to find out.
Now, for those of you wondering, I don't know, maybe you're new here or you just haven't heard me say this, I'm not a political guy. I don't pay attention to the culture wars and all the fear-mongering from the likes of, CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, just to name a few. So normally I wouldn't cover something like this on this channel, but the reason I decided to make this video is because it actually captures perfectly why I'm so disinterested in the political culture wars that seem to be in full swing leading up to the November presidential election. And the last person I'd go to for political commentary is Andrew Schultz, so if you guys find this a little bit strange, then I don't really blame you. But let me at least show you what I mean. So if you haven't heard, recently Candace Owens had a falling out with her employer, Daily Wire, which was co-founded by Ben Shapiro.
There's a great interview where Ben is justifying why he fired Candace. And I don't know the extent to which Ben is criticized. I know he's very critical of media and media being biased.
Yeah.
But before you have a media platform, it's very easy to critique media. It's very easy to go, look at New York Times, look what you do, and look at Washington Post, look what you do, and you're censoring free speech, you're for censorship. In this conversation, he makes the argument for censorship. He calls it something else.
Yeah, I forget the term. I have it in my phone.
But I don't even think he's using the term right. But he's basically like, there's a window. So we accept ideas between here and here. And anything outside of that window, well, you're fireable. That's censorship.
What?
But he's acting as if this is like a justified reason for firing people when you built your identity and platform off of no censorship and freedom of speech and facts don't care about your feelings and all this shit.
It's also funny that window happens to end where his beliefs end.
Isn't
it interesting?
You would say
well,
that.
Not being pro-Israel, that's where the window ends. That's also your specific personal belief.
What?
So...
Candace Owens has had some pretty whack theories over the years, like the moon landing was fake and the First Lady of France is actually a man. And recently, since October 7, she's been part of the growing voice on the right that have become critical of the Israeli government, and more specifically, how involved they are in American domestic politics. I think this is so interesting because even where I'm from and around the Western world more broadly, since October 7, we've seen all of our political leaders stepping over each other to declare their support for the Israeli government and virtue signal to the public that they're on the right side of history. Now, as you probably already know, Ben Shapiro is staunchly loyal to his Jewish roots, and he's been a strong conservative voice for Israel, especially over the last 6 months. And Andrew Schultz isn't so sure about whether that's a good thing.
Wait a minute.
Crazy. I wish.
So wait, is
I
the
wanna
Daily
look at
Wire an American media platform or is it an Israeli media platform? I'm just asking.
This guy's cooking.
But you can't criticize Israel as a country. That's just another country unless you're saying, and you're clearly admitting that the Daily Wire is an arm of the Israeli, I guess, media or propaganda machine. Is that?
Oof.
Are you manipulating the religious right in America? Are you manipulating the right-wing conservatives in America and selling them country western movies and putting on your little cowboy hat and fake moving in Nashville so that you could take all their money and then in the process restricting free speech, one of the core tenets of the American identity? Ben.
Oof.
Benjamin.
What is happening? There's trouble in paradise. What shall we do?
Yeah, I'm so here for this. There's nothing I love more than exposing elites for their hypocrisy, especially the ones who profit from outrage. And so this is how Candace Owens found herself on the wrong end of Ben Shapiro's loyalty to his mother country. She began to get too critical of the Israeli government and their intentions, which made Ben Shapiro eventually make the decision to pull the plug on her. Just quickly though, if you're not already aware, there's something you need to understand about Candace Owens before I show you this next clip. She hasn't always been a conservative, right? She actually started out on the left, but after she founded the website Social Autopsy, which basically exposed online bullies by tracking their digital footprint and then doxing them online, she quickly found herself on the receiving end of a backlash from the left, which led her to convert to the right. In her words from 2017, she said, "I became a conservative overnight. I realized that liberals were actually the racists. Liberals were actually the trolls. Social autopsy is why I am conservative." So just like Tucker Carlson, when she went off script and started to voice her own thoughts and opinions, she no longer had the support of her employer.
Can you tell me? Because I've looked into it and I haven't found anything outright anti-Semitic that Candace said. Can you tell me some? Because the article I saw
liked the very anti-Semitic trope.
Which was?
I think it was.
She liked a tweet?
She liked a comment.
Someone said that Rabbi Shmuley was drunk off Christian blood or something to that effect.
Yeah.
And then she liked it. And then apparently she had been like defensive of Kanye. Like it's all like nuanced. I haven't listened to every single little thing, but like the general feeling is like she was not outraged by what Kanye had said and was kind of like trying to defend him from the media.
It is interesting timing to suddenly get offended by Kanye, isn't it?
Because that was...
Slavery was a choice. If she probably didn't have a problem with that, I'm assuming, and you wouldn't, Ben Shapiro, I don't think would have been like, whoa. Slavery is reprehensible, as was the Holocaust, but slavery is reprehensible. How can you say it was a choice? These people they didn't choose to come on these ships and do this.
And why would she be getting fired now for the things Kanye said, like, I think it was a year and a half ago?
That's also very true.
Well, it was like through November that she was like defending him and obviously I think the Israel stuff like lit her up.
The comments.
And then she was going back and forth with other co-hosts. I think it was like Decorum also. She was like calling out Shapiro being like, oh, he's annoying.
Yeah, I don't understand why you would hire a firecracker like Candace Owens and then turn on her once she starts being a firecracker. I mean, I agree that she's got some pretty whack theories. I mean, so does Alex Jones, so does Tucker Carlson, but you can't deny it when they hit the nail on the head. And Schultz sees this for what it is. Candace Owens was becoming too popular and she began to shape the narrative on Daily Wire by being one of Shapiro's fiercest critics right there on his own platform. She was stealing the limelight and putting Shapiro on show.
She's massive. She's the biggest star on the platform that is not a owner of the platform. I think Ben is one of the owners. So you have a very tricky thing where your base, the people consuming your content, are equally drawn to her than they are to Ben. Potentially could go even more. You might have to nip that before she can take a stranglehold of the identity of your platform. So I think that it's not just, oh, you said something bad. I think it's a trend and seeing this unstoppable force. She's not afraid of nobody. She will say whatever the she wants to say. She will debate any single person. She'll go out there and do it, right? Ben Shapiro is debating college kids.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest, right? It's like anytime he debates somebody who's like worthy, he either gets washed or bare minimum stalemate. I've never seen him actually win a debate against somebody who's like educated in the matter. I think the biggest concern about the Daily Wire is that their consumers
Ben doesn't represent their consumers. Back when it was just liberal versus conservative, he was this incredible soundbite machine for conservative talking points, and he was brave, and he would say anything, and he would go out there and he'd interview a trans person and fucking rip them apart. Like he basically had every single nugget ready, locked and loaded, so that all these people who were conservative were now like, oh, you've done the intellectual heavy lifting for me. Great, give me all those talking points. I can use them. He was representing what they needed when they needed arguments.
Yeah.
Now, the culture war has shifted. Now they might need justification for Christianity. There's an attack on Christianity. Trans Day is on the same day as Easter. Christians might feel a little bit like they need more representation. They're not going to get that from the Jewish guy.
Yeah.
I think this is also a symptom of how both sides of politics are fracturing more and more now. We saw how Donald Trump split the Republicans and basically forced them to follow his lead because he was too popular to ignore. And now we're seeing how the left is becoming splintered because Joe Biden is so clearly not fit for office, and they don't have the balls to replace him with a younger, fresher alternative because for some reason they think he's the only one who can beat Trump. So what's happening with Ben Shapiro right now, in my opinion at least, is symptomatic of the two-party system slowly dying. There are too many vested interests on both sides of politics, and now with the war in Gaza, it's starting to split up the conservatives and the liberals alike. This is why I've always personally stayed away from partisan politics. I've always been an independent and supported individual policies from both sides. There's just way too much money in politics at the moment, and it's frustrating when you have this random small country in the Middle East with so much power in our domestic politics. And it's not just the US. This is happening all over the Western world. And so Andrew Schulz seems to just be realizing now that all these free speech warriors are just common opportunists who use the badge of free speech to promote their own interests and are quick to justify censorship when it suits their own agenda.
You didn't have enough confidence in the American system and the fundamental core tenet of free speech. You didn't have the confidence in it to just let it happen. You pretended you did when it was beneficial to you. But once there was a moment where having that true free speech could take your platform and lead it in a different direction, you immediately did what every platform does, which is control the speech. And now you're just learning what it is to own a media company. And owning a media company is not free speech. So this...
But can't you just, like to what Mark said about being an absolutist...
Hold on. Wavering on the most important conservative point of his career, which is censorship.
That's an important
and free
point.
speech. This is what his career is built on. He is a journalist, a person in media, and completely wavering and being a hypocrite on it, to me, doesn't make you go, oh, well, it's just whatever. It just shows an extreme bias. And that extreme bias is something that I think the public should be aware of.
I'm so glad that Schulz had this epiphany recently, and my regulars will know that I'm the first one to trash guys like Schulz, Rogan, Tom, and Bert for being hypocrites and grifters, but I'm also not afraid to give them credit when it's due. I know some of you will be laughing at Schulz for only just realizing the bias across media at the ripe old age of 40, but I gotta hand it to him for dedicating almost the first 40 minutes of his podcast to taking down Ben Shapiro for being a massive hypocrite and basically acting as an unofficial arm of the Israeli propaganda machine. I think that gives him some credibility, even though he's just a comedian. Anyway, that's my breakdown of Schulz exposing Ben Shapiro for what he is. Let me know in the comments below what you think about all of this, and if you're not a regular of this channel, hit the subscribe button and give me a thumbs up if you ended up enjoying this video. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one.
If you want to have no standards to uphold, be a comedian. Do you know what I mean? Just be a clown like us. It's very easy.
We gotta talk about Rogan.
Oh yeah, yo, Rogan.
Oh yeah.
Unbelievable, bro.
And now they're like, we don't need exclusivity anymore because we won.
The war is over. Now let's just do a
recoup.
revenue share on ads. And the best way to get revenue share on ads is let them have it everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. That makes sense.
All right, guys, I hope you're ready for a bunch of Andrew Schultz epiphanies because in the latest episode of Flagrant, Andy and the Toy Story boys took a deep dive into Joe Rogan's new Spotify deal. And not only do they not know the basic details, they misinterpreted key aspects of the new deal, and it ended up being a love letter to Papa Rogan. The thing that annoys me about this isn't the fact that they're wrong, it's that Schultz didn't even bother to call or message Rogan to get the details, and nobody in his team bothered to do a basic Google search to get the correct answers. This is coming from a podcast that rakes in over $250,000 per month. So I'm going to get straight into it, but just quickly, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and support the channel so you don't miss out on any of my videos. I upload a few times a week, so if you want to stay up to date with what's happening in the podcast world, all you have to do is subscribe and hit the notification bell.
We got to talk about Rogan.
Oh, yeah, yo, Rogan.
He's
Unbelievable, bro.
back on the
Congrats.
tube.
Now he's back on.
He's on Apple
He's
Pods.
everywhere. I think he's going to be on YouTube
soon,
too.
yeah.
So, yeah, just
crazy.
the GOAT.
Yeah.
Just the GOAT.
I was saying this to you, and this is before the deal even got announced, but this is when I knew Spotify was smart to sign with the first deal. My sister-in-law is talking to me about a podcast. She's recommending it. She's like, you should check it out. You would like it. You know where I go to look up the podcast? Didn't even think about it. I went to Spotify. I never would have done that pre-Rogan.
Like, to me, I listen to music still on Apple, and then I would listen to pods on Spotify.
Yes.
And now it's shifted my music consumption to so they're making money off of not just podcasts. They're making money.
Yeah.
It like you said, it's not just his podcast. It's everybody who listens to podcasts on Spotify.
Yes, and that's not just, I'm sure the same thing. Oh, Alex Cooper's doing the same thing for girls. I'm sure,
they got rid of
but not to that same level. Yeah, and they kept Rogan for a
I
reason.
thought they signed her too.
Oh, I thought they let that go.
I think Rogan's number one, Alex Cooper's number two in terms of all the deals they signed panning out.
Yeah.
Rogan distant number one.
Okay, first things first, Schultz is completely wrong because Spotify renewed Call Her Daddy's contract the week before they renewed Rogan's, and the deal was structured in almost the exact same way, except Spotify retains the video rights to Call Her Daddy. Now, if these guys had been paying any attention, they'd know that Spotify did this same deal last year with Trevor Noah, only on a much, much smaller scale, obviously. Basically, Noah is guaranteed $4 million, and as soon as ad revenue reaches that figure, Spotify will then split everything above that $4 million mark 50-50. But for those of you who are new here and have missed my previous breakdown videos of Rogan's Spotify deals, here are the basics. Rogan's old deal was worth between $180 and $220 million over 3.5 years, according to the Wall Street Journal. This was an exclusivity deal, meaning JRE would only be available on Spotify, but you could still listen to it for free. It's important to note that the total value of Rogan's old deal was tied to audience targets. So the more listeners he carried over from YouTube, the more money he was able to earn. And so this arrangement allowed Rogan to manage his own ad reads and sponsorships, which, in my opinion, based on industry standard advertising rates called CPMs, that would have resulted in around $80 to $100 million in additional revenue for Rogan every year. So over the last 3.5 years, based on my basic assumptions, Rogan would have received over $500 million in total revenue from Spotify and from his own ads. That is a lot of money. But this new deal is very different. Now Spotify is taking care of everything. In fact, not only are Spotify now managing all the ad sales, they're also going to distribute JRE across every platform, including Apple Podcasts, Amazon, and YouTube. This new deal is reportedly worth up to $250 million. Now, that figure includes a minimum guarantee, which is unknown, and a portion of the ad revenue that Spotify will make by advertising across all platforms. So just to clarify, Spotify will now manage and sell ad space on JRE, and Spotify will then pay Rogan a cut of the revenue. Effectively, Rogan has now licensed JRE to Spotify to manage entirely, and they will pay him a cut. And when you put the two deals side by side, even if you adopt more conservative assumptions than I did, in almost every case, Rogan's old deal was worth significantly more than his new deal. The question is, why?
I also figured there was another angle where it's like, you've gotten the market share, but you also know how he can move market share. So you have to pay him to not
leave.
go.
Yeah. Because he could easily just be like, I'm not putting it on Spotify.
I'll go exclusive to Apple. I won't put it on Spotify. He don't even have to go exclusive somewhere else.
Everywhere else but
won't
Spotify.
go to you.
That, I'm sure that factors in too.
Yeah.
This guy moves the landscape of entertainment. So you just have to, it is what it is. But I also think they aren't going to do exclusive deals anymore. They're like, we'll still do it.
Well, they got the market
of
share.
ads.
The whole idea with the deals was to get people to consume podcasts on the Spotify app or the Spotify platform. It's like, you've achieved it. You don't have to spend any more money. And I think that's why they slashed so many people in that department. It's like, it's been done. We've got all the people.
Okay, I've heard this from so many different people now, and it's just plain wrong. Their argument is Spotify has now captured enough of the global podcasting audience, so now they no longer need to pay for exclusive deals. I just don't understand that logic. Spotify is just an app. It's not an ecosystem like Apple or Android or Adobe even, for example. I've seen so many comments from people saying how they can't wait to delete Spotify or that they can't wait to stop using it and go back to YouTube again for JRE. So whilst I agree that Spotify will be able to retain some of the users who followed Rogan and various other podcasters over to Spotify, there's still going to be a bunch of people who delete Spotify altogether and just go back to watching JRE on YouTube. I mean, think about the appeal of YouTube's comment section. And if you're a publicly listed company like Spotify is, there's no way you'd spend over $1 billion on exclusive podcasting deals over the last 3 years, only to open them back up again to distribution across all platforms 3 years later and ruin that initial investment. The bottom line is, if the exclusivity deals had actually worked, Spotify would have done them again. Think about it at a very basic level. Why would Spotify pay anything to a podcaster if they're just going to publish it across all platforms? What's in it for them?
I got to ask Rogan how he got the bag. I don't know if it's, it seems like it's bigger than the first bag. Plus, he got the freedom to put it wherever.
From what I've read, Spotify's like, we don't need, I think, again, they're not dumb, dude. I think they threw the bag at Rogan to be exclusive because they knew changing behavior is the single hardest thing to do. Changing behavior of someone instinctively going to Apple Podcasts to Spotify, I need you to be exclusive. I'm going to throw crazy bag at you. Yeah. And now they're like, we don't need exclusivity anymore because we won. The war is over. Now let's just do a revenue share on ads. And the best way to get revenue share on ads is let them have it everywhere.
So you take the piece of the YouTube. I don't know if that's how it's structured.
So it's worth $250 million to get a percentage of Rogan's ads. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. That makes sense.
Yeah, they're getting a percentage of the ads.
Oh man, how did Schultz not know one of the most important details of Rogan's new deal? And Akash was only half right. I'll keep saying this until I go blue in the face. If Spotify's exclusive deals were working and had created value for the company, they would just keep doing them. They changed the deals last year, starting with Trevor Noah, because there was something wrong. I mean, just listen to what Spotify's executives are actually saying. This is the reporting from the Financial Times after Spotify had laid off almost 20% of their workforce. The spending spree has weighed on Spotify. Paul Vogel, the company's chief financial officer, put it plainly on a phone call this week. Podcasting was a big drag on our business in 2022, he told me, though he predicted that this drag would subside over time. The article goes on to say, Spotify does not break out its podcasting financial results, but at an investor day, the company said it made close to 200 million euros in podcast revenue in 2021. This means that for all the splashy deals and hundreds of millions of dollars spent on podcasting, it's bringing in only 2% of Spotify's total revenue. And if that's not enough, how about these comments from the founder and CEO reported by Yahoo Finance? Exclusivity wasn't what the podcast hosts wanted. The creator obviously wants to be on many different platforms and wants to have as big of an audience as possible, X said, adding that Spotify's new strategy lets it both grow its ad revenue and keep its talent happy. And so it should be obvious by now that podcasters who went over to Spotify on exclusive agreements lost a whole bunch of their listeners.
That's the other thing to think about when you take a deal like that. Like if you take a deal that could significantly, with Rogan, he was great enough where it didn't reduce his market share. His show probably just grew. And he had to bust his ass to do that.
He never let up.
He did not.
He could have gone 3 a week probably and been,
been totally fine.
Yeah.
But he kept doing banger after banger after banger.
4 a week, 5 a week.
Yeah, I don't even think he gets enough credit for that.
Yeah.
Like he went behind a paywall pretty much.
Yeah.
And the show grew.
Can you imagine going exclusively to Patreon and then your numbers go up overall?
Yeah.
So
kept the work ethic.
Unreal.
Also, if your pay isn't tied to performance, it kind of just goes down to like almost like character or like personal philosophy of like what you do. If your pay is not tied to performance, then are you someone that's gonna like still show up every day and work as hard as you were before? Or are you gonna kind of coast? Yeah, no, it's really cool that he did that. Just like kept the work ethic and kept the character to just be like, I'm gonna go even harder and have bigger episodes.
Yeah.
Even though it's not necessarily directly going to, performance bonuses or whatever.
Yeah.
So really cool. I don't know if that's part of his deal, but I think it's cool.
Okay, first things first, Spotify did not paywall JRE. It's always been free to listen to on Spotify. Secondly, on what basis is Schultz concluding that Rogan grew his audience when he moved over there? It's true that Spotify don't publish their podcasting numbers. All we can go off is that they say that JRE is the #1 podcast and Call Her Daddy is #2. But there's no way to actually verify that.
With all due respect to the top 2 podcasts who they claim is top 2 is Rogan and
What do you mean they claim?
Well, I mean, I know Rogan's #1, but they claim that Call Her Daddy's #2.
And you don't
What do
believe
you mean that they claim?
Well,
I think she has a massive market with women.
No, she does. But like, if you look at all podcast stats, Rogan always comes #1. I don't know if she always comes #2. But again, it's their asset, so it's #2 for them. You get what I'm saying?
No, tell me what you think about that.
He's saying they're even if they're not #2, they're going to say she's #2 because
That's
she
#2
has
for
the
them.
exclusive contract.
That's
be
#2
like,
for them.
if she's let's just move her to 2. Who gives a fuck?
Which makes sense, right? But
And so if Spotify's CEO is saying that podcasters no longer wanted exclusive deals because they're losing listeners, then it's hard to argue that Rogan actually grew his audience after moving over there. I was just reading an article from Insider Intelligence from 2023 that reported some podcasters were saying they lost up to 3/4 of their audience after going exclusive. And when you consider Schultz's comments on the DJ Academics episode, you can start to see how skewed his thinking is when it comes to these types of deals.
Now that we're asking questions about everything and it's revealing the cracks and everything, we have no faith in a single system. No faith in government. I have no faith where my taxes go. I don't know what the military industrial complex is doing with the money. I thought all the money was going to Ukraine until last month. Now I realize it's staying here. It's going to Raytheon. How is it I'm 40 years old and I'm learning that everything I know is false every day?
Andrew Schultz is finally catching up to what we've been saying this whole time. On the latest episode of Flagrant, he had an epiphany about all of his epiphanies. It was almost a beautiful moment where he realized that he's been late to the party on almost everything. Oh, and he's been taking way too much Adderall.
So here's the thing. I'm taking Adderall, right?
Love it.
Love it. It's great.
Yeah.
It still just makes me want to party. Like people are like, I want to do homework. And I'm like, have you partied on it? Because when I take it, I'm like, we need to party. Like we need to go to a Blondish show and I need to hear some techno.
It does. It does.
Oh my God.
Okay, hold up. Let's take a few steps back. Let me explain exactly what's going on here. If you haven't noticed, Andy and the Toy Story boys are finding it harder and harder to get good guests onto Flagrant. That's why we've been getting more and more of these home team podcasts to take from PBD. And so they've realized that if they're going to do it alone, they need to have stuff to talk about. And we know how much Schultz and his boy band like to tackle current events. But here's the thing, there's a lot going on at the moment, and Andrew finally realized just how hard it is to stay well informed enough that he can discuss these current events with confidence. So they come up with a plan. Because there's so much to cover, why don't we split up the different topics between us, and that way we can all present our findings on the podcast. Kind of like a high school group project, except they're not in high school and they're meant to be comedians. Anyway, Schultz's topic was Donald Trump's first criminal trial, which started this week, so let's see what he came up with.
I looked into this story to understand this story.
Yeah.
After reading, and not only reading, talking it through with someone who has legal expertise, after trying to get to the bottom of it, I realized there's no hope. There's no hope. There is no hope for information ever again. There's no hope. Okay. First of all, I'm going to go through each one of you and just ask you if you know what the trial's about. Do you know what it's about?
The hush money. payment
for Stormy Daniels. Okay, so first of all, we all know the guy who's probably going to be president is going to trial in our city. You have no fucking clue. There's no hope. No, it's okay. Nobody knows. We all don't know.
Okay, I just unlocked a new fear. Being assigned to a group project with Andrew Schultz. His biggest takeaway was that there's too much detail to get across in a short amount of time. Who knew that the legal system could be so complicated? And so I've put together an edit for you guys of Schultz explaining the Trump case, which ends up leading to, you guessed it, another Schultz epiphany.
I'm looking into this fucking Trump thing, okay? Stormy Daniels, I know, okay? This is what I thought it was going into it, because I just read headlines and I'm a fucking doofus, right? I go, okay, he took money from the campaign funds and then paid it. That's what I thought, right? Because I'm an idiot, right? Not even what it's about. Okay. Apparently, and I'm going to have to take out my phone that has notes on it to get through this, I'm sure, but I'll try to do it without. Okay. Apparently, he pays Michael Cohen, who was his personal attorney, $130,000. Michael Cohen sets up a shell company to create separation between Michael Cohen and Stormy Daniels. The shell company pays Stormy Daniels $130,000. That is hush money. That's, hey, be quiet about, whatever the happened. Don't say some shit, okay? It is a misdemeanor to falsify your business records. In other words, say that you paid for one thing when it was really for another. Trump said in his records he paid $130,000 for legal services to Michael Cohen. Mm-hmm. The $130,000 from the shell company that Michael Cohen set up went to Stormy Daniels, which would imply that he was falsifying his records. Now, that's just a misdemeanor. Mm. People falsify their business records all the time. It is quite common practice. Maybe people are writing off a meal here and there that's not exactly a business meal. They're writing on. There's falsifications all the time. This happens all the time. Okay. In order for it to become a felony, you have to falsify your records. There's a couple options where it can be felony. Falsify your records with the hope to conspire to gain office. So if they can prove that he had falsified his records in hopes to benefit him for running for office, this is, I think, a New York law specifically. I don't know if it's available in other states. Then you can go, okay, now it's a felony. And once it's a felony, now we can put 5 years in prison or whatever the fuck it is. Yeah. But it doesn't stop there.
Okay, I gotta say that Schultz actually did a half-decent job of understanding the case, but the question I had throughout this whole episode was, why don't you just get a legal expert on to explain the case properly? You know that lawyer that you spoke to who explained it to you? Why don't you get them on? You have one of the biggest podcasts in the world. If you're so interested in all of this stuff, do what your Papa Rogan does, book an expert in to come on the show. But about that epiphany, so whatever you think about Donald Trump, you can't deny that Attorney General of New York Letitia James and DA Alvin Bragg have had a massive hard-on for Trump since day one. They're both card-carrying Democrats who are trying to climb the political ladder, and prosecuting Trump is a massive opportunity for them to make a name for themselves. When it comes to high-profile public figures like Donald Trump, almost all of them have skeletons in their closets. Take anyone, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Mitch McConnell, Ted Cruz, Nancy Pelosi, Gavin Newsom, Ron DeSantis. If you dig deep enough into their pasts, you are guaranteed to find something illegal. Nobody gets to high office without skeletons. Everyone knows that, right? Well, except for Schultz. He's a little bit slow. He only just figured all of this out this week.
Yeah. So the DA hasn't even said which one it's going to be. He's like, we got something that's a felony. I don't got to tell you, but we got something. Is it illegal? Sure. It's going to make me vote for him. That's my takeaway. If researching this and seeing the and you don't think that there's at least a little bit of a witch hunt, a little bit of a witch hunt. We're talking about New York City.
Yeah.
You can't pay a to shut the up. Like, you can't pay her from your lawyer.
Yeah.
Like, what? How are we supposed to pay him, Alex?
So I agree with Schultz about it being a witch hunt. After all these years, all of a sudden, some $130,000 payment requires this level of time, public money, and public resources to get to the bottom of. These political hacks would love nothing more than for Trump to run for president from behind bars. And it's the same rhetoric we saw from Trump with Hillary Clinton and the whole lock her up saga. Also, don't forget that Joe Biden and Hunter Biden definitely have something to answer for in court about the 10% payments to the big guy, not to mention all the of politicians on both sides in Washington, D.C., who have made millions of dollars over the years through insider trading. So, like I said, all of these lawsuits are political in some way. It all comes down to which party has their own puppets in office at any one time. Donald Trump has the Supreme Court stacked in his favor, so the Dems have to attack him at the state level. Anyway, all this led to Schultz realizing that it's almost impossible to stay across all of these issues and still live the life of a YouTube comedian.
What I'm trying to say is, it's not your fault for not knowing this. Like, I get it. It's really not. It's everything is so, the amount of work that it took to just barely understand and still get it wrong, this topic, that's every topic. That's the amount of work you had to do last night to just barely scratch the surface of Iran and Israel. Not even talking about Israel and Palestine. Just nobody, no human being could understand all of this stuff and have friends, a family, children, a job. It is what I'm trying to get at after all this is, I completely get why people just go, F the truth. I'm picking a side. Feed me the talking points.
The one time Schultz had to do actual research and become knowledgeable about something, he realized just how hard it really is. And he kept going on and on and on about it, to the point that even his buddies were laughing at him for how ridiculous he sounded.
It's impossible. It's literally impossible. Yeah. Like, imagine you work 80 hours a week. Imagine you work 80 hours a week and you want to have, you can't, the truth is too hard. You have a family.
And then I got to tell them what to think? Tell me what to think so I can tell them what to think.
Think about how easy it was. Nazis, bad.
Great. Love it.
Americans, good.
Love it.
I'm informed. Now everybody's bad. Everybody's bad now. Everybody's bad. Everybody's a little bad. Everybody's a little good. It is impossible to understand every issue and still be like a decent human being with friends and like enjoy basketball.
So at this point, Schultz was basically just shouting at everyone. He'd clearly taken too many addies and the epiphanies just kept rolling out. He got onto the topic of the pandemic and he shared with everybody his realization that it was harder for poor people compared to rich people. This was some Bert Kreischer level cringe.
That's the other thing. Even the vaccines. Like, I
thought we're not cutting anything else.
We're not cutting it. Even the vaccine.
Video last week about Schultz having an epiphany and discovering what grifting actually is. And so I think maybe it's his word of the month or something and he just likes saying it. But like I said in that video, the way Schultz describes grifting almost exactly describes himself to a T. I want to take a look at Jerry's commencement speech though, and then show you Schultz's reaction, because the things that resonated with him really do say a lot about how much he's changed and how much he's becoming more and more like Jerry.
I have truly spent my life focusing on the smallest things imaginable, completely oblivious to all the big issues of living. Find something where you love the good parts and don't mind the bad parts too much. The torture you're comfortable with. This is the golden path to victory in life. Work, exercise, relationships, they all have a solid component of pure torture, and they are all 1,000% worth it. The only two things you ever need to pay attention to in life are work and love. Things that are self-justified in the experience, and who cares about the result? Stop rushing to what you perceive as some valuable endpoint. Learn to enjoy the expenditure of energy that may or may not be on the correct path. About work, you know how they always say nobody ever looks back on their life and wishes they spent more time at the office? Well, why? Why don't they? Guess what? Depends on the job. If you took a stupid job that you find out you hate and you don't leave, that's your fault. Don't blame work. Work is wonderful. I definitely will not be looking back on my life wishing I worked less. If that's not how you feel at work, quit. On your lunch break, disappear. Make people go, what happened to that guy? I don't know. He said he was getting something to eat, never came back. The other thing I see going on that throws a lot of people off these days is thinking, I've got to make as much money as I can. I personally believe the real game is I want to have the coolest job. When I started out as a comedian, I did not think I was funny. I thought I'm a little funny. Maybe I wouldn't have to be that funny. I just have to be funny enough to feed one person. And I could do that with a loaf of Wonder Bread and a jar of peanut butter. I just wanted to have this super cool job. And cool is a word not easily defined. It's really just whatever you think is cool. So just go for what you think is the coolest. Money will be made eventually, somehow. Try not to think about it so much. I see this messing people up a lot. Put it to the side a little. Don't think about having, think about becoming. Having is fine, but focus on becoming. That is where it's at.
Oh man, I'm so done listening to billionaires and millionaires telling us to stop worrying about money and just to work hard, and if you don't like your job, just quit, you'll figure it out. Try not to focus on having stuff, says the guy with a car collection of over 150 exotic cars. Jerry has the same exact Porsche in different colors. Yeah, that's a lot of stuff, huh? But finally for Schultz, now that he's part of the rich comedy elite, he can finally relate to what Jerry was saying.
Anyway, his speech was actually really good. Yeah. I thought his speech was really cool. Maybe there's like my wife sent it to me on TikTok, but I'm sure there's like a longer version of it. But he just talked about like the 3 things in life that he's, his 3 like lessons for life. And I thought they were really good. So yeah, maybe I was wrong.
I basically said though, like,
I'm willing to forgive him if he apologizes. You know what I mean? I'm willing to forgive him if he apologizes for that thing that he has no clue that he did 15 years ago. But I thought what was really interesting is falling in love with these little things. Yeah. And how valuable that can be and how much joy can come to your life from that. And it's very easy to just focus on the biggest things that are happening in the world. What are the biggest issues? What do I need to get done? What should I care about when there are things that we absolutely love right in front of us that might make no sense to anybody else, but those things are going to end up bringing us maybe equal joy, maybe more joy. The other thing I loved was just working hard. Like,
yeah, and swing the bat.
Yeah, even if you don't know what you're doing, just work hard and fucking take the chance and swing. And it was great. Yeah. And yeah, I thought it was good. It was, and also looking at the things you have as a privilege.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was really good. I mean, it's still him forever.
No.
You know, because he did something to me.
You're being so anti-Semitic.
I know. Yeah.
Why the hell do you hate this guy just because he's a Jewish kid from Brooklyn?
I mean,
what's wrong with you, bro?
Now, don't get me wrong, I agree that you should work hard and be grateful for what you have, take chances in life, don't play it safe, take a risk, swing the bat. But why is it that all the guys preaching about these things are either Nepo babies or struck it lucky and got rich in the absence of any real hard work? I mean, most of us are working hard, most of us are taking risks, we're swinging the bat every day, but statistically we can't all make it big and become millionaire comedy podcasters. That's the point I'm trying to make here. When these guys were still coming up, they used to hate Jerry and they were bitter because he was so rich and successful. But when they achieve their own fame and fortune, all of a sudden they start preaching the same empty platitudes. Remember when Rogan was telling The Rock how he realized when he got his first big paycheck that the secret to happiness is not being poor?
I realized when I was young, I got a development deal for Disney when I was, I think I was 25, 26. And I got this development deal, and all of a sudden they gave me like, I think it was like $100,000. And I had money in the bank. I was like, this is crazy. All of a sudden I had money. Like my whole life I was poor. And my whole life I was like wondering how I was going to, when I was on my own, and it was like, how am I paying the bills? How am I eating? But then the moment I got that check, I remember feeling light. Yeah. Like weight had been lifted off me. Like now I didn't have to worry about my rent. Now I didn't have to worry about food. And I remember thinking immediately, oh, this is the key. You just got to not get to a place where you're not worried about your bills. If that means like spend less money, if that means like live a more prudent lifestyle, whatever you have to do. So then I was like, okay, now the most important thing is keep going. Yeah. Like make sure you don't lose any ground here and keep going, because now you know what it's like to be successful. Continue that. Do whatever the you have to do, whatever work you have to put in to continue that. Yeah. And then when I got to a place where I felt like I have enough money that I feel really secure, then I started to learn how to be happy. Brian Count said something to me once, and I never forgot it. He said, and we were kids. We were in our 20s. He said, the only amount of money you need is so that you can go to a restaurant and not care what things cost. Everything else is bullshit. If you got enough money, we can go to a restaurant, you don't worry. Just order a bottle of wine, order meat, order whatever you want to eat. You don't have to think about the price. He goes, that's real freedom. I experienced that leap, that jump, when I got a development deal. So I was like, I guess I was 25, 26 maybe, 25. And I got this development deal from Disney. And it was like $150,000, and I couldn't believe it. I had $150,000. This is nuts. And I felt like a physical weight lift over my shoulders.
So I get what Rogan's saying there. It's nice to be able to go out and have a nice dinner and a bottle of wine and not have to worry about how much the bill is, but to say that's true freedom is just wild. True freedom is not having to worry about your rent or your bills, your healthcare, etc. I would take that freedom over a steak and a red wine any day. And this is where I wanted to get to with you guys in this video. All of these guys were meant to be the alternative to the elite establishment, but they're so far removed from reality now, especially Rogan. I mean, he's been independently wealthy since his mid-20s. Now he's preaching ice baths and saunas, TRT, HGH, dozens of vitamins, 2-hour morning routines. I don't think he realizes how unattainable all of that is for his average viewer, and his solution is just get money. I mean, he literally said, find a way to get money and you'll start to be happy. If that's not the most boomer take ever, then I'm fucking Santa Claus. I mean, seriously. Remember last week when Bert Kreischer was telling us about how he started channeling his goals into the universe so he could manifest buying a new house? And his producers laughed at him for saying buying a house was a small goal? And after all that crap that Tom Segura went through over the last couple of years with the pause and the airport meltdowns and telling his angry fans to change their attitude so they can pay their rent, he thought it would be a good idea to post this video yesterday. These guys just don't get it, and it seems like they never will. Just when you think they've turned a corner and started to make changes, they prove you wrong and double down on their hypocrisy, and don't even get me started on Brendan Business Shark Schaub. So when Schultz tries to call out all these grifters for jumping on the latest trends and monetizing drama for a profit, he really needs to take a look in the mirror and realize that he's describing himself. And as for his emotional arc with Jerry Seinfeld, it's so predictable that after his continuous rise, Schultz is starting to agree more and more with Jerry. The difference is, like I've been saying, Jerry's old school. He's 70 years old now, and even though he's got boomer life advice, he still has his charm about him that Rogan and his buddies don't seem to be able to grasp. You'll see what I mean in the closing clip I have for you guys right at the end of this video. I'm getting pretty sick and tired of rich comedians telling us to work harder and not worry so much about money. But on the other hand, work hard and get money so you can be happy. And the best one is just be grateful for what you have. I remember when comedians used to be funny. Anyway, thanks for joining me on this one. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and remember to check out my Patreon via the link below if you're interested in additional uncensored content. Otherwise, if you're not a regular of this channel, hit the subscribe button and don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you ended up enjoying this video. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.
By the way, drink? You don't drink? Or you just have
I drink, but it's a little early and I'm driving.
Oh, you're driving. You drove yourself.
Yeah.
What a stud.
Yeah.
But we know how you feel about cars.
Yeah, I drove an old Mercedes-Benz diesel here.
I mean, that level of car, I mean, I guess Jay has it too.
Level of car enthusiasm.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about that.
I don't either.
I don't like to, I know it's not of any interest, but